We are seeing finally evidence of a real correction where prices are going to come down. Home buyers over the past few years shook off rate increases, home prices kept rising. We anticipate that prices will fall at least 1% in the second half of 2025.
Glenn Kelman just announced that he expects national home prices to drop at least 1%. At least. This comes just after Zillow announced they think home prices are going to drop. This is the most bearish I've seen our national real estate tech companies probably ever. What are they looking at that makes them think prices are going to drop? Anytime we talk about housing, there are three key variables: supply, demand, and affordability. That's it. Everything can come down to one of those. In fact, when we talk about mortgage rates or income or sales price, we're talking about affordability. So when we look at Redfin's press release, sales prices will decline because inventory is rising and sales are falling. Prices will drop because supply is going up and demand is going down. That's essentially what they're saying. Even though we can read into it, we can look at deeper metrics, we can look at leading indicators. At the end of the day, there's way more supply, there's less demand, so prices will drop. I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but it really is that simple. When we look at supply, the picture is wild. I mean, we are seeing a pre-pandemic normal amount of new listings. Now, the problem is that demand has been anything but normal. It's down almost 30%, almost anywhere you look. Well, anytime you have normal new listings, but 30% less demand, you have a massive build in inventory. This is like snow falling and accumulating, and it's not just skyrocketing nationally. It is skyrocketing in Nashville as well. Single families are up almost 35%, while demand continues to lag last year. But it's not just supply. There are some leading indicators on pricing that can make you feel more confident about the direction of where prices will go. That's where price drops come in. Price drops are one of the most reliable indicators on how motivated sellers are. And we are seeing a record tidal wave of price drops in Nashville. Now, when you compare it to the percentage of active listings, it's much higher than it was last year, but the ramp, the steepness of it is about similar to last year. It's almost like prices are going to drop about a month earlier here. Look at the curve nationally. It is steep. Now, with mortgage rates headed back into the sevens, most wannabe homebuyers cannot afford this market at all. That firmly puts sellers in the driver's seat on whether or not they want to move their property. We do have some forced selling, but to this point, there's not been enough forced selling to really move comps. Sellers have one of two options. They can cut their price or they can wait. Now, to this point, they have been waiting, and it's been years. It makes you wonder, when are they going to capitulate on price? Because buyers are showing up less and less, even though affordability in many parts of the market is actually better than it was last year. Even if mortgage rates have been a little bit lower or the same, incomes have been continuing to grow. I know there's speculation about unemployment skyrocketing, but here in Tennessee, continuing claims on unemployment has really been on the lower side of average for the past couple of years. But any way you look at it, it does look bad for the housing market. It does look bad for pricing. And I think that's why Zillow cut their forecast too. But there's still one thing nagging at me. I can't shake it. It's not that I don't want prices to drop. I would love prices to drop. My suspicion is they will drop some. But look at Redfin median sales price. It's at an all-time high. They are projecting that prices will drop in Q4. And if you look at Q4 of last year actually had an atypical, unseasonal increase in price. And so by them projecting that it would be lower by 1%, it seems almost like they're hedging, like they're not really confident in where prices would go. And I think that's because they actually forecasted prices to drop last year, and they didn't. The truth is that outside of 30 to 60 days, maybe 90 days is the most you can really forecast what's going to happen in the housing market. And the only reason you can forecast then is because all of that stuff has actually started happening now. For example, the price cuts happening now are going to be buyers that buy over the next 4 to 8 weeks. When they go under contract, that takes a month before they close, and then it takes another month to be reported on. So the fact is that you really can only see about 12 weeks out for what's going to happen with prices. Anything beyond that is just economic predictions, and it's very difficult. If we look at pricing in Nashville, the median sales price is up year over year. It's basically flat, but it's up. Median contract price is up year over year. I am still expecting these to fall, and they have not fallen yet. Median price per foot is up. Median contract price per foot is up. And the truth is that when we look in aggregate, people that are buying are spending more. At the same time, we are seeing massive seller capitulation in certain parts of the market. I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again, condos are crashing. Condos are crashing. There are condos listed now for 30% less than what they were selling for 24 months ago, and yet they're listed for sale. They're not moving. There is a condo crash. But when you get hyper-local, there are still neighborhoods that are selling at higher prices. The lows are actually moving up. The highs are moving up. We can see that price trend in certain neighborhoods are actually recovering from a soft 2024. And yet in 2024, we didn't see aggregate prices drop in Nashville. So when we look back at the last time Redfin and Zillow predicted prices dropping, they were actually wrong. And this isn't to say that they were wrong about the dynamics they were seeing. It's to say that it's very difficult to predict what and when will happen. And I know many of you think that there will be a recession in the fall, and certainly I've been thinking that for years, and it hasn't happened. Many of the indications we use for the macro environment to predict recession have all been wrong, from people on the left and people on the right. Nobody has been able to accurately predict what will happen with our economy, which is why I don't make predictions either. I'm just going to give you the data. I'm going to let you guys decide what you think will happen. As soon as median contract price drops in Nashville, you know I'm going to be telling you. You know I'm going to be excited. It is boring to be one of the last markets to drop year over year negative. But the fact is that Nashville is still hanging on strong, while Atlanta, Raleigh, and Florida, and Texas, and Phoenix, they're all going negative. Some of these places have tighter inventory than Nashville, and still prices are dropping there before they drop here. The facts is that every housing market is hyper-local. This is why I built the neighborhood tracker. Some neighborhoods will be going up even as the market goes down, and some neighborhoods will drop far more than the market. So if you're just looking for a home price decline nationally, or even one in the state, it's not really going to tell you what's happening in your neighborhood. It's more or less just going to tell you that maybe more houses are dropping than not, but that doesn't mean there aren't massive winners for neighborhoods, and it doesn't mean there aren't massive losers, just like in the condo market. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Thanks a lot.